Well, they're calling for a big freeze down here in South Texas, Southeast Texas, all of the Midwest, really. But it's going to be like record-setting cold that we don't normally get. Potentially single digits. And I was just going to show you guys how I was insulating my water lines up here in the attic. It's shockingly common down here to find water heaters and exposed water lines in the attics of houses, and I'm just as guilty. Actually, because when we built our house, in all of our grand planning, we never thought about where the water heater was going to go, so we ended up having to put it in the attic. Anyway. Anyway, mine have always been exposed. We've lived here now for starting on our 4th year, I guess. And, it's just never gotten this cold. There's a few times it got down into the low 20s. We just leave a water line running overnight, and that's sufficient. And honestly, it'd probably be sufficient now because I'm up here, it's 30 degrees outside. I'm up here in the attic, and I'm sweating putting this stuff on. There's enough heat loss coming up through the ceiling, and it just doesn't, it's protected from the wind. Anyway, so whenever there's a cold snap like this in Texas, you can't find black pipe insulation. And it wouldn't have worked for my application anyway because the pipe running along that wall has actually got clamps holding to the wall, so you can't put the insulation around it anyway, the black regular pipe insulation. So I just went and got fiberglass batting, and I'm just wrapping it around it like a big sock, and I'm just tying it with baler twine. Down here, down lower, where I couldn't wrap it around as well, I also stuck batting in behind it, so it's got kind of a double wrap. So it's wrapped up good and tight. Like I said, way more than it really probably needs to be. But I just wanted to mention this, to help explain to people. This is an idea you can do if you need to winterize your water lines, and it does a very, very good job. It almost might actually be better than the black stuff because there's a piece of that black stuff. That black stuff has that common split on it, and it's got a little glue in there, but that glue never holds. The stuff ends up, coming back apart and gapping anyway. So this might actually be better because if it tries to expand and open up, it just puffs out that much more and, kind of fills in the gaps. So really, other than spraying expanding foam all over this, which I also did, now that I think about it, my wellhead, let's see, the first winter that we lived here, we got a cold snap. And my wellhead was completely exposed. My water line's coming off the well. And I went out just with a can of Great Stuff foam and just sprayed foam on that line and just basically encapsulated it with foam. And it actually worked really, really well. Anyway, so this is working good. Or it's going to work good. I shouldn't say it's working good. I don't know. But it's going to work well. But I just figured I'd mention it, give it, as an idea for you guys. This is another way you can insulate your lines. And I thought something kind of funny as I was working on this. My dear old dad, I guess he doesn't quite understand the concept of insulation because about a year ago I was helping him try to do some winterizing on his own pump house. And I'll show you what he did. I got to go around the other side here to show you. I was laughing when he did this. I thought, oh my gosh, how's this man? He raised me, but I guess he didn't teach me. He had me helping him insulate his water lines. I gotta be careful I don't fall through my own ceiling. Where's a joist? Gotta find a joist to stand on. There's one. Anyway, he handed me a piece of insulation and he said, yeah, just stuck that in there. And he did kind of like that. And I said, Dad, you realize that does absolutely no good, right? Well, it'll help. It'll help do something. No. Not really. So just a note to you guys, for insulation to work properly, it has to be all encompassing all the way around. If you have an exposed side, it doesn't do you any good. Check very closely on your elbows, and that's where this little black foam stuff will really get you in trouble because the elbows on it are never good. So make sure on your elbows that it's tied up nice and tight and that it's not gapping. Down here, it's not gapping on the inside of the elbow because that's where it's going to want to try to. Anyway, this is actually the hot coming off the top of the water heater, and it is like you know, very hot to the touch. I probably really don't need to insulate it, but I mean, hey, why not, right? We're up here. It's not going to hurt anything. This is an electric water heater, so I don't have to worry about anything venting or any, you know, issues with an open flame like a gas water heater. I can wrap it if I want to. It's not as critical. The bigger thing is wrapping, you know, over here. This is still plenty warm coming down, and if we leave that's why when we leave a water line running, we leave a hot water line running in particular, not a cold line, but a hot line, because it circulates hot water through the line. This thing is still hot all the way down, actually. But I've got the insulation up here. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it. So I'll just show you once it's all wrapped up what it looks like. All right, so there you go. There's our cold supply coming up and in that I showed you before. And it gets all tangled up in here on the top. This cold supply coming in right here. This is hot going out, back around, and back down. So I stuffed the insulation all around it, wrapped the insulation around the pipe, and then also took my cellulose and kick it back down to fill in even around the other insulation. So yeah, it's wrapped up nice and tight. I'll sleep fine tonight.